historic moment in the United States. Former President Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 counts in his hush money trial. The jury reaching a verdict after deliberating for 9.5 hours. This makes Trump the first former U.S. president to be a convicted felon. The 34 counts are for falsifying business records connected to hush money payments to his former lawyer, Michael Cohen. The jury had to be unanimous in its decision before reaching the verdict. Cohen was supposed to then pay Stormy Daniels to keep her alleged affair with the former president a secret during the 2016 election cycle. Trump denies the affair and says he did nothing wrong. Here's what he had to say the day after the trial.
As far as the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances. You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil.
Joining Capitol Review is Sarakshi Rai. She is the Director of Audience Development and Head of Social Media with our media partners at The Hill. Sarakshi, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, put this in the context. A former president has never been convicted of a felony until now. How historic is this moment?
Yeah, we use the word historic so much that it's hard to understate this, because this is, in fact, an extremely historic moment. 12 New York jurors made history this week when they convicted former President Trump on all counts in his hush money trial. Now, he is the first former president to be convicted of a felony, or in this case, multiple felonies. He was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records in a case that has revolved around a $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels. Now, this verdict came a lot faster than many legal experts predicted, especially given some of the complexities with this case and really the hard questions over the credibility of the prosecution's main witness, who is former Trump attorney Michael Cohen. So extremely historic.
Sarakshi, Mr. Trump's campaign announcing $35 million that they hauled in after the verdict. What does that mean to you?
Well, they did make that announcement, $35 million in small donations coming in shortly after his guilty verdict. And really, we'll only be able to corroborate this once the numbers are officially released. But we know the fundraising platform WinRed went down for a couple of minutes yesterday, because of the sheer number of people. And that is, in fact, confirmed. And, we heard from the president speaking, a day after his guilty verdict, where he gave a lengthy and often, really rambling remarks without a teleprompter present from the lobby of Trump Tower, where he really blasted the trial as a scam and rigged, and he portrayed himself as honored to have gone through the process and really thanked people for sending in those donations as well. And he's vowed to appeal his conviction. So he has vowed to not go down without a fight. And he's thanking all of his supporters. And he said that, the only way to kind of get through this for him is if his supporters continue to donate to his campaign. So he's vowed to appeal, and we'll know more, from the judge later at his sentencing. But we know he's vowed to appeal his trial, and he's called it unfair multiple times through his almost 40-minute long speech.
Sarakshi, what is the White House saying, and how will they use it on the campaign trail?
His campaign has released a lot of statements, shortly after the conviction, as well as shortly after President Trump gave a news conference the following day. We heard from his campaign Twitter handle saying that the best way to defeat Donald Trump is to donate to President Biden's campaign. We heard his campaign communications director shortly after President Trump's speech say that this was really a long and rambling speech, and attacked Donald Trump for calling America a fascist state. They really went after him for his remarks there. And we also heard his communications director say no one is above the law. But we know that President Biden is not expected to speak about this verdict immediately.
Sarakshi, what happens next?
Well, next on the cards for former President Trump is his sentencing officially on July 11th. Now, this is just 3 days ahead of the Republican National Convention, where he is really set to cement his place as the official Republican nominee for president in this election cycle. We're going to see him declare who his vice presidential candidate will be, his running mate, essentially, who will be running this this potential White House if he is elected alongside former President Trump. And what we're really expecting right now is we know, once the sentencing is held, that Trump's legal team will appeal, but this is not really going to stop him from running for president. And there's really no legal prohibition on felons from running for president either. So we're going to continue to see this play out on the campaign trail.
Sarakshi, thank you.